Hey, I'm Jonathan Sewell at Mitchell Mazda on the Boulevard in Enterprise, and today we're going to talk about the 2021 Mazda CX-5, specifically the Carbon Edition, and the differences between it and the Touring and the Grand Touring. So we've got them all lined up here. Going to start with the Touring and move up with equipment, but when we finish, you'll know exactly what the differences are between Touring, Carbon, and GT. So I'm gonna try to do this as quick as I can, but I love Mazdas and love talking about them. Let's just jump in and see what happens. Okay, let's start here and just give a brief introduction of what we're looking at. So this is a 2021 standard Touring, no options on it whatsoever as far as factory options. Of course, it's in the beautiful jet black mica and does have the black interior, which we'll cover in just a minute. Also, we have a 2021 Carbon Edition. This is the standard Carbon Edition, front wheel drive. So no turbo, no other options, just standard as it comes. And this is a 2021 Grand Touring model, Eternal Blue, so no ads for color or anything like the other two. And the only option on this one, as you can see, is the roof rails. So we're gonna go from the Touring to the Carbon to the Grand Touring and talk about the differences or feature/equipment differences. Let's get started with this beautiful jet black mica Touring. I'm going to spend the most time on this vehicle because we're talking about standard features, so we're going to kind of take a shallow dive instead of a deep dive. But this is the Touring, so a couple of features to pick out. You see the big bold emblem, the camera on the windshield. So this vehicle does have your iActive Sense safety features. This includes the smart brake support with enhanced pedestrian detection at night. Also Mazda radar cruise control with stop and go feature. Also lane departure alert and lane keep assist, as well as a distance recognition system, automatic high beams. This would also have your other active safety features such as traction control, dynamic stability control. This is more of a extra special feature, but it has your G vectoring control plus. And all three vehicles we're talking about today have those features. Also on the Touring, you have the LED auto leveling headlights. And this also has some amber lights in there and some regular halogen lights, but this is your LED auto leveling. Also have the big wing, the Mazda signature wing there, which is chrome accented, matches the headlights and some of the other trim. As we work our way around, you have a 17-inch alloy wheel, which is your standard wheel on the CX-5. This also upgrades from the Sport to a LED turn signal here on your color-keyed mirror caps. With these are power, of course, and you have a blind spot monitor and rear cross traffic alert. Also, the Touring upgrades to a advanced keyless entry, so push to lock, push to unlock. And as we go around, every CX-5 has the shark fin antenna. So you see 1, 2, 3, they all have that there. As we go around to the back, you have just a standard lift gate, no power, a backup camera. As you can see, the Touring also updates or upgrades to these handles in the back to break this down, 40-20-40. Every CX-5 has this 40-20-40. However, the Sport does not have this, so Touring and above would have these features. as we take a quick peek in the back, and this is the black leatherette, so hopefully you can see it. So you have the leatherette on the outside, and then the Lux suede on the inside, or the insert of the seats. Also on this Touring, you have the fold down armrest, which the Sport would not have, with USBs and device holder and cup holders. Rear AC vents, which is not on the Sport. Again, this is just the standard Touring. You have a 6-way manual passenger seat. You have heated front seats with a automatic dual climate control. Also, it's a 6-way power seat on the driver's side and a manual lumbar. So this one is the first trim that allows you to electronically get your seat comfortable. The 10.25-inch big screen there for the infotainment, 7th generation, is standard. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto is standard on all CX-5s. You also have the Skyactiv Drive 6-speed with the Sport mode, which is standard. Electronic park and brake with auto hold is standard. Commander control, of course, is standard. And in this console, we have your SD card slot if you want to upgrade to nav, and USBs, 2 more USBs, and a regular charger. Then you also have a regular charger up here underneath the infotainment and HVAC controls. You can see this Touring has kind of an accented silver finish. Kind of matches the alloys outside. Here's the bright design around the air vents, and then ties in with that same silver finish. Soft touch materials on the dash with the stitching, and kind of that matching stitching on the seats. Step around to the driver's side. I'm going to pop the hood in just a minute and talk about the standard engine that we have on all of them. Here is your leather wrapped, which is upgraded on the Touring. So you have a leather wrapped steering wheel. Also, this is the steering wheel that you'll see on all of them, because they all have the same Bluetooth controls, radio controls, and safety controls, including your cruise control, radar cruise control. Here's your standard instrument cluster with your LCD on the far right that shows the information. You also upgrade to a illuminated vanity with a Touring on both sides. And I believe that's it. Let's pop the hood and take a look. This is the Skyactiv G 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine, naturally aspirated. It has 187 horsepower, 186 foot-pounds of torque. And this is the setup that you'll find in all Mazdas, where everything's really fit just right. Also, any containers, with the exception of this one that's darker tint, but you can still see the fluid in it for the reservoir. Every other container is clear and easily detectable just from peeking at it without having to pull a dipstick. Speaking of dipsticks, if you need to pull one on the engine, it's right there in the bright yellow. And then if you needed to add oil, it's right there. This would, of course, runs excuse me. Speaking of dipsticks, if you need to check the oil level, there's the dipstick on the left with the big yellow handle. And if you needed to add oil, of course, it's 0W20, but it's right there, right on top, easy to access. And here's your air box with air filter, fuses. Everything's located up top and easy to get to, and up front, so you don't have to dig around. Batteries right there, which is easily accessible, but it's housed as well to keep it in place. You notice that they have some extra spacing up here. This is all covered in plastic because the fan is right here, and the radiator, which you can kind of see through the grill. I didn't cover this earlier, but if you look at the grill, it is kind of a V'd style, standard on the CX-5s. And I think that's all there is to talk about right now. The last thing I wanted to talk about as well is the pricing. The pricing on this standard Touring is $28,110. I don't know if it's focusing. There we go. $28,110. Fuel economy on that engine is $25.31 with a 28 combined. And if you'll notice, the Touring also upgrades to privacy glass in the rear. So you have this pretty clear and then tinted in the rear. So let's drop this hood and jump on to our Carbon Edition. Okay, my intentions are just to cover the add-ons with this Carbon Edition model. So not talking about much of the meat and potatoes, just the changes. So the first thing that you'll notice is our signature wing is dark tinted. So it's no longer that bright chrome look. Also, the grille, instead of a V'd look, is more of a vertical look, a unique grille. So different mold altogether. You have the same headlights here, so everything's LED as far as these projector beams. And at this rate, it's getting dark. I might be able to show that at the end of the video. You upgrade to 19-inch black gloss wheels with 19-inch Toyo tires on the Carbon Edition. Also, as far as styling, you have the black mirror caps, and its only color is the polymetal gray. So this color is not available on either of these other trims or any trims on the CX-5 line. And the other thing is the red leather interior only available on the Carbon Edition. And of course, I've talked about this before, but late availability of a black leather on the Carbon Edition. So you will have some options as far as interior. Speaking of seating, you have you upgrade to an 8-way power driver's seat. So it does have a power lumbar with memory. So you have those memory seats right here, as well as we get around the back, a power liftgate, rear power liftgate, and Bose sound system. Now, if you look at the interior trim accents here, it's a little bit of a different design. And that carries over in the dash over there. We'll look at it on the passenger side. You also pick up a power manual seat, power passenger seat with this. The only change is really you still have a leather wrapped steering wheel, but it's red stitched, as you can see. Also, there's red stitching on your gear shift, so that changes. And the door panels, as I already mentioned, have this accent, but they're changed a little bit with that stitching and some of those things. Let's take a look in the back. Same design, same trim pieces here, same red stitching, same red leather. Still have the fold down armrest with the USBs. Still are 40-20-40 back here in the back. And as I mentioned, that power lift gate. So still have the 40-20-40 and still have the handles to release them. The only differences back here is that you do with the Bose have the subwoofer in that standard spare tire. And this specific vehicle, we did tint the front glass, but the rear privacy glass is still standard. And horsepower ratings, fuel economy ratings, all that's the same. The pricing on this one is $29,955. So for a little less than $2,000, you can upgrade to the Carbon Edition here. And I believe that is everything, except let's walk around and look at the passenger side. Infotainment is exactly the same. With this Bose system, you do not have satellite radio. There's a look at the power passenger seat, and the carpet mats are the same. Still have the black flooring and still have the same materials and same design here, just the different piece here. And that's the Carbon Edition CX-5. Oh, forgot one thing. With that Carbon Edition, you also have the moonroof up top. I didn't get inside, so I missed that one. So you have the moonroof with your Carbon Edition. Let's move on to the GT. Here's that Grand Touring. So again, we're talking about the differences here. So the first thing that you'll notice up front is you do have the little LED fog lights on the bottom lower trim of the bumper. Also, you have the signature lighting, which is all LED. Now with these LED lights, and I'll point out some here in a minute when we crank them up, hopefully, but this one has LED daytime running lights, whereas the other two, it is a regular halogen. So that's part of the changes. There's more LEDs on this model. You do still have the same Toyo tires, 19-inch, and the same style wheel. It's just going to be the machined look instead of the gloss black. So it's a machine painted look, and the same style wheel, however. All of these are the same, except, of course, color keyed. You still have the same features. And as I mentioned, the one option on this Grand Touring is the roof rails. Take a peek inside. You have two interior options of black or parchment leather. You upgrade to Bose. The Bose on this one does have the 90 days of satellite radio, and you can see the change in the interior trim, which goes across the dash as well. Also, as you can see right there, the GT upgrades to the wider instrument cluster there with the big LCD screen in the middle. That also has a digital speedometer and some larger features there. Still have the 8-way drivers with the memory, and the 6-way on this side with power liftgate. Same Skyactiv drive, 6-speed automatic. Same setup as far as the heated seats over here as we go up from the Touring. Same infotainment with those standard features, with the exception of the satellite radio. Same leather design as the Carbon Edition, just in the back seat, just again the different colors. Same fold down armrest. Everything's pretty much similar, except for these, some trim pieces. Power liftgate is actually standard on the GT, so standard on the GT and the Carbon. Same 40-20-40. Same spare with Bose. Same handles right here. And as you look at this vehicle, other than colors, it would really appear to be the exact same as the Carbon Edition with the specs, other than the signature lighting. So I think that's about all that we lack in covering these differences from the Touring to the Carbon Edition to the GT. And it's starting to get really dark, so I might as well crank them up and walk around the lights for you to see. Okay, here's a look at the Touring. I apologize, since they're running, it's a little bit loud. You can see the LED lights, also this LED feature right here, and then your halogen, which I believe that is the running light on these two models. Let's take a peek around the back. So there's your halogen bulb back there. And then, of course, this would be an LED, and those are LEDs. There's a peek of the back of that one. And nice look from the side. I don't have the blinkers on, but of course they light up and are similar on all three models, right here and across there, and that's a LED. Here's the Carbon Edition. Same design as the Touring, with the 3 bulbs there. And here is a look of the back end of the Carbon Edition. LED tag lights on all 3. And then the same lighting, and then the brake lights up top on all 3 as well. And here's the changes here with your signature lighting. So you can see that LED from the side and the LED ring, and over here. So it eliminates that area where the other halogen bulbs were. So it's all LED. Then I've got the fog lights on down at the bottom, so you can see those. So there's the look of the Grand Touring. And here's the signature lighting that matches up in the rear. Same design and same LED features on this one, but you also have the LED in the center here for the blinker and for right here. So these are all LED. There's the look. There's the other two. Thank you for joining me for this comparison of the Touring Carbon Edition and Grand Touring. I'm Jonathan Sewell at Mitchell Mazda on the Boulevard in Enterprise. And if this video of these vehicles offered you some value, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, like. And I really would appreciate you click below to subscribe if this is the first time you've seen me. I'm always trying to find new ideas, a lot of which the channel viewers help me with new ideas to get that information out there. And this was really fun and hopefully answered a lot of questions, because I fielded a bunch on the difference between the Touring, the Carbon Edition, and the Grand Touring. And of course, everybody loves that one and wants to know how they compare. So here we go. Now I need to adjust my exposure ever so just a little bit, because how I'm seeing this in real life is actually different. This is closer. So you can see it's called Carbon Edition. We have the Eternal Blue over here, the Carbon Edition over here, and a black vehicle over here. Why do they call it Carbon Edition? Because look, it's really dark, and it's almost like the black, except it's got the black wheels, of course. So it looks really sharp, and this is actually more to reality how it appears to me right now without the auto exposure of this larger light sensor on this iPhone. So if you have any questions or comments, drop them below. Any suggestions on future videos, drop them below. And thank you for joining me. I can't wait to see you on the next one.